Welcome back to the channel. This is a More Better Ascend coming at you with an amazing modern Hammer Time deck. Now, this is a classic modern deck that's been pretty high in the meta for a long time. This is just my little twist on it. This is how I built my deck in paper that I own. So let's just jump into it. Basically, the entire concept of this deck is to get the Colossus Hammer, which is a 1 mana equipment that gives your creature +10/+10 and loses flying with an equip 8. Now, we're never going to pay that equip 8 cost because that's insane. So we need to figure out ways to get that equipped without using the equip 8 cost. Because by the time you get to having 8 mana, you're going to be dead. So let's show how we're going to get into this deck, how we're going to get that Colossus Hammer attached quickly and free. Because that's always the best part, is getting a 1 mana equipment that does +10/+10. Now this deck has a lot of, just the way it's displayed here, has a lot of alternate arts and stuff like that. That's why it is almost $1,400. Even if you did change some of these cards to their regular versions, you're still going to be spending an insane amount of money. I proxied majority of this deck because, I'm not going to spend $13.27 on a Magic deck. It's just not going to happen. So let's just talk about the deck, talk about the different cards that are in it, and jump right in it. Let's go. All right, so first up, we got our 0 mana artifacts. So these are going to be good targets for putting the Colossus Hammer or the Shadow Spear or anything on, because we can put this into play for 0. So you're not wasting a mana. This gets us 1 turn faster into getting our combo together and getting damage in onto the opponent. Throw this out there for 0 mana. It's a 0/2 with flying. You put the Colossus Hammer on it. It loses flying, and now it's a 10/12. So now all of a sudden you have a 10/12 on the board on turn 2 that can already attack, which is insane. So one of the big things about this deck is the targets that we're going to be putting our equipment on are going to be very, very low mana value. So that's one thing we need to really focus on, is we need to get things out on the board that we can attach the Colossus Hammer to that don't cost a lot of mana, so that way we can get it out there sooner. And I'd say a 0 mana card is probably the best way to do it. We also have the Mox Opal. We can get this out on turn 1 as well, even though we probably won't have enough artifacts to activate it on turn 1, possibly on turn 2. This is a legendary artifact. It is a mana rock that says add 1 mana of any color. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts. So as you can see in this deck, there's a lot of artifacts. We've got 4, 8, 9, 10, 14, 18, 19, 24 artifacts in this deck. It's a lot of artifacts. So we're very easily going to be getting enough artifacts on the field to be able to activate this and use it as a mana rock. All right, another target to put our stuff on is the Ginger Brute. This is a 1/of in the deck. It is a 1/1 with haste, and you can pay 1, and it can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. So unless you're playing up against a mono red deck, this is going to be able to go in unblocked. So if you get a Colossus Hammer on this, you just pay 1. You're getting in 11 damage right off the bat like that. Just like we talked about before, this is the Colossus Hammer. This is our main win condition right here. This big beefy boy right here. 1 mana, +10/+10 and loses flying. Like, again, we're not going to use the 8 equip cost. This is definitely our main win condition. We definitely want to have multiple of these in our hand if possible, so we can win the game in just 1 turn. The other equipment in this deck is the Shadow Spear. Now, if you're playing up against a deck that has a lot of little tiny chump blockers, you can go find the Shadow Spear, put it on the creature that you have the Colossus Hammer on, and now you have trample. And just a little bonus, you have lifelink too. So now you have, it's going to get +1/+1. It's already getting +10/+10. So now you're at 11, and you put it on a Ginger Brute. Now you're at 12. You're going to be gaining 12 life. And if you're attacking with that every turn, and it has trample, there's no way that the other opponent is going to be able to keep up with the pace that this deck can go at. We also have the Esper Sentinel. This is another thing that we can attach the Colossus Hammer to. It's a 1 white artifact human soldier. It says, whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So when it's out there initially, you can draw. They have to pay 1 to draw 1 card, for you to not draw 1 card. But once you get the Colossus Hammer on there, now they have to pay 11 for you to not draw cards. So they're never going to do that. So you just constantly get to draw cards as whenever they cast a non-creature spell. So it's a good way for just some card advantage. Now this is the main card in the deck. This came out with the Secret Lair, but this was an original card called Sigarda's Aid. Now this came out with that Secret Lair for Marvel called Captain America's Aid. It's a 1 mana, 1 white mana enchantment that says you may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. Whenever an equipment you control enters, you may attach it to target creature you control. So remember we were talking about the Colossus Hammer with that 8 cost. Now we're not going to have to do that. This just puts it in for free. So you pay 1, and all of a sudden one of your creatures has +10/+10, which is unbelievable. Also, with the fact that they can be played as though they had flash, makes it for a nice combat trick. So you think about that not new, but that trendy mono red pump spell deck where you attack in with everything, and then you pick and choose what you want to put your monstrous rage or whatever else on. You can now do that with Colossus Hammer. So you can attack in with 2 creatures. They block one of them. All of a sudden, you put Colossus Hammer on the other one, and you're getting in an extra 10 damage. So this is definitely the most important card in the deck right here. All right, what's up next is another equipment. This is just a one of. This is from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It's a 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has haste and ward 1. So let's say they kill your creature in the beginning that you tried to put your Colossus Hammer on, and then you put out another creature. You can attach this Lava Spur's Boots to it, and it'll immediately gain haste, because the only creature we have in the deck that has haste is Ginger Brute. So this just adds a little extra ability to get an attack in right away. Also, the ward 1 is nice. So we do need a little interaction. This is the white counter spell called Mana Tithe. Counter target spell unless controller pays 1. Now, it's not great because they can just pay 1 and be done. But if they tap out for something big, this is going to be huge, especially because it's only 1 mana. There's only 2 of them in here. It's just to possibly protect one of our creatures or to stop them from putting something out that's going to disrupt our combo. We also have Blacksmith Skill. Now this looks like it's basically built for a Hammer Time deck because there's a guy with a hammer and a forge building something. This is another way to protect our stuff, just because when you have that one creature out there and you're kind of doing a Voltron-y kind of thing where you're just trying to get that thing huge, then you need to protect it, and just 2 Mana Tithe is not going to do that. So I threw 2 Blacksmith Skills in here just because it's a little bit more powerful than Mana Tithe. Target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. If it's an artifact creature, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So like I said, we have a bunch of artifact creatures, so you're going to probably get that +2/+2 every time, and hexproof and indestructible, so that destroy spells are not going to work. Now, how are we going to find, let's say we start our hand and we don't have a Colossus Hammer. We need to go find one. So if you have a Stoneforge Mystic, it's a 2 mana 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle. So obviously we're going to go grab the Colossus Hammer if we don't have one. Otherwise, we can grab something else like a Shadow Spear or a Lava Spur Boots or whatever else we need, or a Cauldron Complete. Doesn't matter, whichever one. And then we can pay 2 and tap the Mystic on the next turn, and we can put the equipment card from our hand onto the battlefield. So now that's not really going to be worth it unless we use it for Leyline Axe or Cauldron Complete, just because they cost more than 2. The rest of the equipments cost 1, so that's really not going to be worth it. But we do have those other cards in the deck, and so that they're not dead cards, we're definitely going to be using that. Here's another super important creature. 2 mana, Pure Steel Paladin, 2/2. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. This is going to be along with Esper Sentinel as our card draw mechanic, that we definitely want that card draw advantage. A lot of the stuff in our deck costs very little, so we're going to be running through our hand really quickly. So we definitely want to get these on the battlefield so that we can start drawing more cards and refilling our hand. And then Metalcraft, which is the best part of the entire card right here. Equipment you control have equip 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. And like I said before, we have 24 artifacts in the deck. So there's definitely going to be a chance that we have 3 artifacts on the field at one time. So that means we can pick and choose where we move our different equipments before and after combat. You can attack with one creature with all the equipment on it, and then move all of it to another untapped creature for defense. I have 2 of these. I was saying we need more interaction. This is a 2 mana instant that does 3 damage to a target attacking or blocking creature, so kind of like an Iganjo. But it also can be doubled as a land. So if we're in dire need of a land, we could throw this out in the battlefield. And the flip side of this has you pay 3 life and it'll come in untapped. But in a pinch, this is a great removal card that also could double in as a land in case we are mana screwed. Leyline Axe. This came out in Foundations. This is a great card for this deck. Great addition, upgrade for this. It's a 4 mana equipment that says, if this card is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. So as soon as you start the game, if you have one of these in your hand, boom, goes on the battlefield. Play your creatures, get them out there, and then you can equip this on there with the Pure Steel Paladin for free. So then all of a sudden, if let's say you had 3 Leyline Axes in your hand, then you have 3 of them on the battlefield. And then you get to just equip all 3 of them to your Pure Steel Paladin or whoever once you get that out on the battlefield. So this is a great addition to the deck, especially because of the double strike and trample. Trample is very important. Double strike just could win the game for you. If you combine a Colossus Hammer and double strike, you're going to win the game. So definitely another great addition to this deck. And then on the top end, we have Cauldron Complete. This is a 7 mana artifact equipment, which is insane, you know. And like I said, we're not going to be spending 7 mana to put this out in the battlefield. It may say it's 7 mana, but we're not doing that. It says Living Weapon, so that when it is brought onto the battlefield, it creates a germ token and then it attaches itself to it. It is indestructible, and it gets +5/+5 and has first strike, trample, indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature. So this is a pretty ridiculous card. It's 7 mana to bring it out in the field and 7 mana to equip it, but like we were saying before, with Sigarda's Aid and Pure Steel Paladin and all the other pieces and the Stoneforge Mystic, we're not going to be paying full price for any of this stuff. That's the whole point of the deck, is that we're going to be maximizing value as much as possible. So this card is definitely an amazing top end for equipment. All right, let's get into the mana base. Mana base is very simple. We have an Inkmoth Nexus. This is your basic pay 1, and it's the cheapest way to get a man land. It adds 1 to your mana pool, doesn't enter in tapped, and you can pay 1, and it becomes an artifact creature with flying and infect until end of turn. So with the infect, you can pay 1, put this on the battlefield, attach your Colossus Hammer to it, attack. It's going to do 11 damage. It's also going to do 11 poison counters. And that's going to win you the game right there. So definitely another good addition, creature-wise, to get us to where we need to be. We also have a bunch of planes. And then we have 4 Urza Saga. Urza Saga is important for this deck. The land doesn't stick around for more than 3 turns, but for those 3 turns, it has a lot of good abilities. First turn, it comes into the battlefield. You can tap it for colorless mana. The second turn, you can pay 2 and tap this and create a construct. With this token, creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact control. We have 24 artifacts, so it's going to be a pretty beefy boy, possibly. And it's just another option for a creature that you can attach Colossus Hammer to. And then at the end, search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1 and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. So, artifacts that cost 0 or 1. Ornithopter, Mox Opal, Gingerbrute, Colossus Hammer, Shadow Spear, Esper Sentinel, Lava Spur Boots. Like, we have so many different things that cost 0 or 1. Actually, you probably can't do Esper Sentinel because it costs 1 white. But even so, there's so many cards that we can go tutor up with this land. So that's the deck. Hammer time in Modern. This deck is incredible. It is so good. It's so fast. It is definitely a combo deck for sure. But there are so many pieces in this deck that you can continue the like, if you don't have the combo right away, you can still win other ways. You have card draw. You have card advantage. You have great creatures in this deck. You have so many powerful equipments, and you have so many ways of creating creatures from your lands as well that you don't need to exactly have a creature in hand. So if they have a lot of removal and they start destroying all your creatures, you might think you're screwed, but you actually have ways of creating creatures through your lands, which definitely ups the lethality of this deck and just gives it a lot more durability too. Lots of interaction as well, which you wouldn't think would come from a white artifact based equipment deck, but we have it in there just to make sure we can take care of anything that's in our way so that we can get that Colossus Hammer through right to their face. So if you like this deck, make sure you like, comment, subscribe below. And until next time, this is a More Better Ascend, and we'll catch you for another deck tech.